back. Welcome back. Welcome to those who are brand new to virtual story time with Dr. P. Welcome, I welcome you. I am your host, Dr. Tamare Piersaint, and I'm so thrilled that you decided to spend some time with me today. If you've been with me since I started virtual story time with Dr. P, you for sticking with me. Thank you for bringing friends. Thank you for being part of this journey. So, if you're brand new or if you've been following me, you know by now that I will be reading you a story. Every week, I read stories from authors from all around the world. And during the month of February, in recognition of Black History Month, I have been reading books by authors who are of African descent. So they are African American or Black authors. And this being the last Friday of the month, in the month, excuse me, of February, I decided that I would read one of my own. And so tonight I'm sharing with you this book, Cory's Back. When I sat and I wrote Cory's Back, I reflected on the many kids, young people, and young people at heart who were really struggling with what to say to their friends, to their family members about their time in the hospital to take care of their mental illness. And so out of that came Cory's Back. So I hope you enjoy it. Are you ready? I'm excited. I can't wait to share this with you. All right, without further ado, Cory's Back by Dr. Tamare Piersaint. Hi, guys. Hi, Cory. Where have you been? You were gone for weeks. You missed the trip to the zoo. Man, we missed you on the soccer field. Yeah, we missed you. You missed the trip to the zoo. You missed the talent show. So where were you? I'm okay. Cory looked at his friends and thought, well, they are my friends. They won't make fun of me. Cory answered nervously, I was in the hospital. The hospital? Did you have surgery? But I don't see any broken bones. There were whispers, odd looks, and concerned faces. No, not that kind of hospital. I was in a psych hospital. A psych hospital? Cory blushed, lowered his head, and said softly, I have anxiety. It's a hospital for people with mental illness like me. His friends looked at each other, and to Cory's surprise, one by one, they responded with words of support. Me too. It's okay. My mom had anxiety. Cory's head raised. He looked at his friends and felt relieved. So, what's it like? Like, what happened? Well, I had a panic attack. It was so bad that I needed to be in the hospital. Cory sat on the swing and began to share his psychiatric hospitalization story. A psychiatric hospital is like every other hospital, but without the big machines. My mom took me to the evaluation center, psychiatric emergency room. The nurse, therapist asks me questions like, what makes you feel better and what makes it worse? How are you feeling? They asked my mom questions too. After a while, a psychiatrist came to me and my mom and said, I think it's best that you spend a few days here with us. They brought me to the children's unit. I was so nervous. They let my mom come in with me. She stayed until I fell asleep. The next morning, a nurse woke me up for breakfast. I heard bells. There were other kids like me around, and there were lots of adults working, but my mom wasn't there. I couldn't eat without my mom. Cory lowered his head. Tears ran down his cheeks. His friends huddled around him. You're okay now. I'm sorry you felt alone. Thanks, guys. We're glad you're here. Cory looked relieved. He continued. A staff person said, don't worry. You can call your mom before breakfast if that helps you feel better. It did. After talking to my mom, I had breakfast and that staff member stayed with me. He told me about the children's unit. He talked about art therapy, meeting with my treatment team, psychiatrist, nurse, therapist, and social worker, the gym, and individual therapy. That helped me feel so much better. Cory smiled, and his friends did too. After breakfast, I met with my treatment team. They asked me some of the same questions the therapist in the evaluation center did. They talked to me about medication, taught me about anxiety, and talked about the skills the therapist on the unit would teach me. Captain, how are you feeling? Do you know why you're here? Skills? Yes. Skills are things you work on with a therapist. Skills help you deal with your problems or stress. I learned skills to help me feel better when I'm anxious. Cory's friends responded, can you teach us some? After a few days, I felt much better. My team let me and my mom know that I was ready to go home. The hospital was helpful, but boy, am I glad to be back home. His friends replied, we're glad you're back. That is it. That is Cory's back. And in addition to hearing Cory's story, Cory shares some tips for kids who maybe are experiencing some of the same thoughts that he's experienced. Maybe if some of those kids that have read the book, um, those who have gone into inpatient psychiatric hospital, or maybe a partial program or a residential program, if they're having thoughts similar to Cory, like, what do I say to my friends? What do I say to people who ask me where I've been? Well, Cory, at the end of the book, Cory provides kids with 5 steps, 5 tips as to what you can say if you've ever experienced something similar. So whether you've missed school because of you were in the hospital or at a partial program, he has tips for you. So thank you again for being here with me tonight, for being part of my virtual story family. I am your host again, Dr. Tamare Piersaint. This was Virtual Storytime with Dr. P. You can find me every week on a Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern for Virtual Storytime with Dr. P. If you didn't know, I am looking for special guests like you. Yes, exactly like you. So last summer, I also had Virtual Storytime with Dr. P and special guests, where young people were able to come on to Virtual Storytime with Dr. P and read one of their favorite books. One of the books that makes them feel great on the inside and on the outside. And the audience, those watching, had the opportunity to ask them questions. I asked them questions. It made for a really fun time. So I am looking for for co-hosts. I'm looking for guests to come and join me on virtual story time. So if you are interested, with your parents' permission, send me an email. You'll see my email address at the end of the screen here. If you are a parent and you know of maybe some young people who would enjoy this opportunity, I would enjoy having them on as well. Please reach out. I look forward to seeing you. Once again, thank you for being here. Thank you for hearing my story, taking part of Cory's back through virtual story time. If you've found virtual story time helpful, please share, please like, and subscribe. If you haven't yet picked up your copy of Cory's back, you can find Cory's back via the e-version on Amazon, as well as the book, and on my website at www.serenityyouthpublishing.us. The link will also be in the next screen. Thank you again. Enjoy the rest of the night. Bye. Hey, everyone.